I'm a bad bitch, yeah. You know I'm that bitch, can't get off of this dick, yeah. I am that bitch, now you know I'm that bitch, yeah. I am that bitch, yeah. You know I'm that bitch, I am that bitch.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to That Bitch Podcast. Hope your guys' past 2 weeks was fantastic. Mine was a little bit of a gong show. It was mixed with work shit happening and drama with my family. Everything has been kind of a disaster and a half. Mentally, not doing great. Yeah, fun times. Needless to say, I'm looking for a new job. And I wish I could move out of this house. Yeah. But besides that, make sure you like this video or you rate 5 stars on wherever you're listening to the podcast and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would be fantastic. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I have an interview that you're going to see with Sandra Gonzalez. She is an entrepreneur. She kind of helps coach high caliber men and women with what they want to do in their life. Like, she makes a plan with them and everything, but she'll explain it all. You'll see in about 20 seconds here. And yeah, so enjoy the interview. So introducing Sandra Gonzalez. All right. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Hi, Serena. I'm so great. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thanks for coming on. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, give me your elevator pitch.
So my elevator pitch, what would that look like? Well, one of the things that I share with people is that I'm a retired Marine officer turned life coach speaker. I had the honor, the distinction of serving 20 years as a U.S. Marine. What I do now is I help high caliber entrepreneurs kick self-doubt to the curb and develop sexy confidence so they can step into any room and stand out as a leader.
So what made you kind of want to go in this route and stop working at working at the Marines?
No, great question. So I retired from the Marine Corps after 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that experience enabled me to really understand that I loved training, coaching, mentoring leaders, high caliber men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I call high caliber, and high caliber men and women are these people who have an insatiable appetite for growth. And typically they tend to be entrepreneurs.
Okay. So what did you do in the Marines? Like, what was your job there exactly?
Yeah. I mean, I did so many jobs, Serena. I was
Mhm.
a Marine Corps drill instructor, that trains recruits for the rigors of combat. So I did that for a couple of years.
Okay.
Wore a lot of hats, but in a nutshell, I was administration. I was like a personal secretary to the commanding officer, to the commanding general. And towards the end of my retirement, I retired as a Chief Warrant Officer 3 in the Marines.
Oh, okay. So I was looking at your website and I was kind of reading like all the description and stuff on there, and it had said, what was I part of there? It was a long thing I was reading. um, you had kind of went through like a transition from because you went to the Marines and then you went through a divorce, and you were saying at one point you got like really depressed and really anxious. How did you kind of work your way through that?
So great question. After I retired from the military, you think that I was obviously married for 15 years. So I went through a difficult divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So life throws you an unexpected curveball at times that when you least expect it. And, there was a little bit of a depressive period, so to speak, but I realized that I didn't want to be feeling like that in the moment. So
Yeah.
the way was to move forward, right? To bounce back from resiliency. And one of the things I learned in the military is anytime you experience a setback, that you want to bounce back and be resilient despite
Mm-hmm.
what might happen to you in life or business.
For sure. And so how did you cope with it? Like with your anxiety and depression, how did you cope with that?
So, and with the things that I teach high caliber men and women is that they have to develop these high caliber habits.
Mm-hmm.
not what you do, it's what it's what you do in this lifetime that will enable you to get the end result you seek. So we're already working on our habits.
Yeah.
Want to work on the right habits that give you that end result you seek. So to answer your question, I'm really big on, working out, eating healthy, developing a stronger mindset, because those are the things that will enable you to move forward as a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
your business, and moving forward despite whatever life throws at you, whether it's like the global pandemic and you need to pivot. Um, yeah, so how did I move forward from that? Is just really focusing on these high caliber habits that enabled me to be confident in the person who I am so I can start and build my business.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you had this specific business you created for?
And that's a great question. I think everything you evolve, because
Mm-hmm.
I've created my brand, and even now I'm evolving. Like I help high caliber entrepreneurs, but I know there's more of a need to help men and women specifically with other challenges.
Mm-hmm.
We're always evolving, but I started, I would say, within the last 3 years,
Okay.
is where I realized that I really wanted to help men and women, develop the sexy confidence so they could authentically stand out as a leader.
So is your coaching then for that, like to teach them that confidence and like to pursue, I guess, their dreams kind of thing? Like what exactly is it that you coach?
Yeah, and a great question. So it's catered to the man or woman. So whatever it is that they choose to focus on, it's
Mm-hmm.
to their specific needs. So initially they come to me because, oh my God, Sandra, I want to make this, I want to go from like 10,000 to $20,000 a month. That's just an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we dive into coaching, it's more than just that, because one thing is connected to something else. So it's truly dependent on that person, whatever challenges they may be facing, and the end results that they want after a 6 month period. But the big things that I help them overcome, Serena, are, imposter syndrome, letting perfectionism, really understanding how to fill up their love tank, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
be authentically themselves, and then in the process be magnetic. As you already know, you want to attract your ideal client.
Yeah.
Here to repel the ones we're not meant to serve.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of like set them up with a plan, is kind of what it seems. You help build them a plan to get to their point that they're wanting, like the from 10,000 to 20,000 or whatever per month. You kind of help them create that plan and stick to it and like continue with what they're wanting to do, basically, is kind of what it seems like. Is that kind of, is that right?
Through what understanding what their needs are,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more clarity, then we both develop a plan based on what their needs are, so they can achieve this end result within 6 months. But the thing is that they already have the answers within them.
Mm-hmm.
Just allow them to see that and
Yeah.
believe, and that's a beautiful thing about coaching.
Well, I'm assuming you really enjoy it, so I'm glad you kind of found this for yourself because you had went through that hard time and then you kind of pulled yourself through and then create a business that you seem to love, which is awesome. I've always wanted to like start my own business a long time ago. It was funny. So when I was coming out of high school, my whole thing was I wanted to do some business kind of schooling. And then I wanted to open my own business. My own business, I wanted to do a doggy daycare. Now look what is super popular all around the world is doggy daycares. But of course, when you're coming out of grade 12, I don't have money to lease an entire building. So that was kind of like, that kind of sucks. But it's like, at least I knew my idea was a great one because everybody here, everywhere else has like doggy daycares now and they're very successful. But
Yeah.
yeah, and now personally myself, I'm like, what do I want to do now? I don't even know. I'm like stuck between staying at where I'm like working right now, where I'm not happy, or taking a pay cut, but go somewhere I'm actually enjoying my time, basically.
Yeah.
But
And and that's one of the, so that's a thing that I help women and men discover, because as you look back at your trajectory, life has dropped subtle hints.
mhm,
And the onus is on you to pay attention to these hints life has given you, because that's part of your journey. That's what makes you you, you know? So
mhm,
the answers are there. The thing we must do is we must be open to listen to what's calling at us, not
mhm.
what's clawing at us. There's a big difference, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I help entrepreneurs do, is really listen to what is calling at you, not what is clawing at you.
Okay. So how do people get a hold of you then for this kind of business? Like how would they find you if
Yeah.
they're trying to look up for somebody to help them along? Where would they find you? How do you promote your business kind of thing? Like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
I mean, I restarted my Instagram account. Unfortunately, it got hacked and I lost all my followers, but I restarted that up, and they can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
It's Coach Sandra Gonzalez, and Gonzalez is spelled with two Z's. So they can reach out to me through Instagram. I think that would be the best, because they can send me a DM and automatically
Hmm.
connect with me, or they can go to my website, www.sandragonzalez.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna put that all in like the description for the podcast. So if they want to look you up on there or just take a browse or they want to contact you, that'll be awesome. So I'll put your do you have a Facebook page too, or just Instagram and then your website?
I do. I can definitely send you my Facebook, Sandra Gonzalez Enterprises,
Okay,
so they connect
perfect.
with me there. But thank you so much, Serena.
Yeah, no problem. So have you ever like listened to an episode of this my podcast at all? Or is it kind of like how did you find my podcast is what I'm wondering.
I was referred to you by a friend, and
Oh.
yeah, so I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I love love, because sometimes, so this is another thing that I teach,
Hmm.
sometimes you gotta be that bitch. Just depending, you gotta be that bitch. And one of
Hmm.
the things that enabled me to persevere in the Marine Corps
Yeah.
was being that bitch, so to speak, was really understanding the masculine energy
Hmm.
that enabled me to be competitive amongst my male counterparts, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of strong men in the military, especially in the Marine Corps.
Hmm.
So I realized, you know what? I could be that bitch, but I could also be feminine. So in a way where I could communicate effectively, tactfully, and convey a message, so to speak. Because sometimes words pack a punch, but
Yeah.
you make sure you communicate, effectively. So sometimes you gotta be that bitch. I
Well,
totally.
definitely. And I feel like everybody before they like calling you a bitch was a bad thing. Now I'm just like, I am that bitch. Sorry that I intimidate you. Like, it is what it is. I am now like taking that word and changing what the meaning is to how I feel about being that bitch.
Yeah, I love it, Serena. So I'd be open to listening you share more about, what comes up to mind as we talk about bitch, because one of the things that's coming up and is that women tend to be more masculine nowadays than feminine.
Hmm.
And so, how do women, especially as it relates to dating or, you know, finding the right partner, how can they be feminine and masculine, without emasculating men, so to speak? Because I hear that's just like a common trend now.
Yeah, well, that's what they all think that we're emasculating men, but then they're just being misogynistic, is what they are, and they're being toxic. So it's like women are now sticking up for themselves. So that's when they're like, oh, well, they're not weak anymore. So I guess now we're gonna say this and that to put them down again. But we're like, actually, no. There was like some research that came out. It was an article. It said that there is more lonely men now than ever as dating standards is on the rise. So everybody's standards are going up, but all these men are single, so they're sad and lonely. but then they want to blame it on us because our standards went up and not down.
Yeah. Interesting, Serena. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So my podcast, I usually talk about like sex and relationships and like my experiences with them, or whoever I bring on to the podcast, we talk about like their experiences. So I don't know if you want to talk about like openly about relationships or your sex life or anything.
Yes. I think it's our responsibility as leaders. I think being authentic is it's that's what leadership is all about, is being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Also, talking about being masculine and feminine, I do see, like I've been told before, I'm like, well, Sandra, you were married for 15 years. I was married for 15 years. My ex-husband, unfortunately, he cheated, and that led to the demise of our marriage, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now it's like, whatever. It wasn't a loss. It was a beautiful lesson that
Mm-hmm.
enables me to move forward. But now, as it relates to dating, I'm like, I know that I can be very strong,
Mm-hmm.
and some men might find that intimidating. But
Yep.
I'm also very feminine, But like you said, am I being too strong, or can they just not take the heat?
I feel like it's more like they can't take the heat, is what I honestly feel like is what it is. Like, as I have like the same issue with, they're all like, oh, you're just kind of intimidating, or oh my God, you make me so nervous. It's like, well, I'm just being myself. I'm sticking up for myself. I'm telling you my opinions. Sorry if that offends you, and sorry if you can't take it. They always say they want like a dominant woman or like somebody who's confident and all that stuff and independent. Then they get one and they can't take it. So it's like clearly you're lying to yourself, because the women that are actually like that, you get one and then you're like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation with somebody earlier today, Serena, and it's like so applicable because I was that subservient spouse for 15 years. I
Mm-hmm.
was that woman that took care of her, so to speak, that trophy wife.
Yeah.
And I was that woman that took a step back because I know there can only be one, alpha freaking male in the room, in the family. I get it.
Yeah.
He was also in the military. But even though that happened, he was still unhappy. People are still going to do what, self-sabotage or whatever. But now, as it pertains to the dating world, yeah, things are not easy.
Not at all. And like meeting new people right now too is very hard, because before it's like you meet somebody at the bar, and then like my parents met at the bar. Everybody's friends that I know, their parents met at the bar too. But now it's like you don't go to the bar to meet someone. You barely go to the bar to do anything now because COVID hits. Nobody goes there just to make out with somebody. Like I used to do that shit all the time. I've been going to the bar, making out with dudes, having a great time. Now it's like, I guess I'm using dating apps, because how else am I going to meet someone? And
Yeah,
in my like city, it's not that big. So everybody knows everybody. So that's also another struggle, right? Is it's
yeah,
like, I don't want to date someone that I know is previously had a relationship with this person, or they know my background, or I know their background, and it's just a whole mess of a
but
situation.
Serena, so I'm in San Diego, a big city, and it
Mm.
has its challenges as well. So now people like, ghost you. So
Yep.
online dating is crazy, or some people are fake, and I'm like, or the thing that recently happened to me, you get catfished.
Oh my
So the
God, you got catfished.
catfish. So yeah, and I try to be very clear, like, I'm like, please be, I'm this way. I would hope that you're that way. And, like for me, not to be like superficial or anything, but I teach these high caliber habits because I practice what I preach. I work out, I
Mm-hmm.
eat healthy. So for me, fitness, wellness is really, I'm a certified health coach.
Yeah.
So this gentleman that I met for like dinner, I show up and I'm like, it can't be him. It can't be him. The guy was like, not to be mean, but like 30 pounds overweight.
Mm-hmm.
and way different from his picture. You know,
Yeah.
not that I'm like, hey,
It's just like it didn't match up. You're expecting somebody to be who you were talking to. I had the same kind of situation. Yeah, it was like his pictures were, I guess, from like 10 years ago, and then you see them now, and it's like, come on, people. I
yeah,
understand that it's like the body image stuff, yes, but it just really sucks when you go to meet that person and they're not who you expect or like what they look like exactly. Because you
right.
have this image of them in your head when you're talking to them because you see all these photos, then you see them and it's like, oh God. But you're then everything's kind of, I feel like it just kind of sinks in your stomach that you're like, shit, this is awkward now, but I'm gonna push through it. But it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not okay that people do that. I understand why they do, but it sucks that it has come to that nowadays as well.
Right. And you know, Serena, being the bigger, better person, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be amicable, make the best of the situation and just have a good
Hmm.
time. Which he got a mixed message. Now he's like, "Oh, we're hitting it off." It's like, "No, buddy, I'm just making the most out of the situation."
Yeah.
Later on, I had to, say, "I'm sorry we didn't emotionally connect. I wish you the very best." And that was that. But yeah, it's not easy.
No, it freaking sucks, honestly. And dating apps too. Like, I don't know, when you're there, do you use dating apps mainly now too?
I just got on. That's how I'm meeting these people because, I'm like, I don't really drink. So
Hmm.
most people are like, well, you need to go to a cocktail hour or
Or something, yeah.
something to meet people. And I'm like, well, that's not my thing, but that's what you have to do to meet someone in person. So what's the next thing? Online dating. So I just started a couple months ago.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's been interesting.
So
It's been
what online dating or apps do you use or websites for yourself?
Well, I'm just on one. I'm on Match,
Oh, okay.
and it's been pretty cool. I mean, I met some cool guys. I also, have to. I'm realizing, like, what am I? That's another thing. Like, is my information coming off too strong? But then I'm like, no, this is who I am. So, like
Hmm.
you're saying, if they can't take the heat, that's just on them.
Yeah, I'm like, you shouldn't have to change yourself just for somebody to be want to date you.
Yeah,
Like, if you're confident, be confident. If they can't deal with that, then that's their problem.
exactly. I'm not going to walk on eggshells just to appease you. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Huh?
let's see here. I have some more questions I've written down. Um, I guess that'd be kind of one of your worst dating stories, then I would take it being catfished or like semi catfished. They're the person, but they're
Yeah,
like not exactly what they looked like.
exactly.
So then I take it you're just dating and you're still single, or are you in an open relationship, or what's your
No,
situation?
I'm single and just looking out there to meet people. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm in the same boat. Single and talking, but I'm trying to like talk to people that are not from here. So my dating apps,
Mm.
I use Hinge, Tinder sometimes, Bumble not really.
Okay.
But you can change your location on there. So like my locations are all in like LA, West Hollywood. That's actually where all my maps are.
Okay. For
For
Hinge or Tinder.
for both actually. So when
Okay.
COVID just started, Tinder had like this free passport option for a little while. So I had used it to go all around the world. So I was talking to a bunch of random people because I wanted to see like what's it like in different parts of the world or different cities, different provinces, all that kind of stuff. And they're definitely different all over the place compared to like this province to the next province or to somewhere in the States or like Brazil, stuff like that. Like just the way they talk is very different. But then I've always wanted to go to LA. So I actually went to LA the last week of July for my birthday. So I had been talking to four different people. So two of them I was talking to for 2.5 years. I met them. And then I talked to two other guys that I was talking to for about 6 or 8 months around there, and I met them. So the first 4 days I was in LA, I had a date the first 4 nights with four different guys, which was lots of fun. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I just rather date someone from somewhere where I want to either move or go travel to than my city that everybody knows everybody, and I don't want to stay here. Like, I want to leave. So I don't
Yeah.
want to be with someone who's going to hold me back to make me stay here. So that's kind of my outlook on it. But people
Yeah.
probably think they're like, oh, it's weird that you have it in LA. But I'm like, their lifestyle is what I like there. Their
Yeah.
jobs are so much different than their jobs, like jobs here. There's like just a different variety of everything and different opportunity. So it's like people there and they're very chill, it seems like, on the app for the most part. But I mean, they say dating in LA is horrible, but I mean, I'm also not living in LA either. So I'm not out there at the bars partying it up and meeting people that way. I'm
Yeah.
talking to them like through an app, and I get to choose who I'm going to talk to as well. If they're going to be an asshole, I'm going to be like, okay, bye. If they're going to be
Bye.
nice, then I can continue talking. So I guess it all kind of depends on the person you're attracted to and how that goes. Because yeah, I've had lots that are a-holes, totally. Or they've ghosted me, or we just stopped talking. Then you
Yeah.
get the ones that I'm talking to for 2.5 years. Then it's like, that's just totally different and
Wow.
just super nice. But
Interesting. Well,
sadly, no wedding happening anytime soon.
if you come to LA, you got to hit me up, Serena. You know, I'm here in San Diego. I would love to meet up with you and go out.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, I wanted to go out to the bar when I was there because I would turn 27 when I was there on the 27th. So it was my champagne birthday. But everybody that I hung out with, it was either during the week, so they're not going out to go drink when they work the next morning. Plus, I
Yeah.
didn't want to go by myself to the bar because I'm like, I don't know where to go, which ones are like the best bars to go to, what the cover charges to get in, or how expensive it is. So I'm like, well, I guess next time I go, hopefully I have plans with somebody to go to the bar.
Yeah.
So for sure, because how far is San Diego from LA?
It's like a 2 hour drive, but I'm always in LA.
Okay, yeah, it's not too bad at all.
No,
I mean,
no.
plus traffic anywhere in LA is like an hour, so add
Yeah.
an extra hour, it ain't that bad.
Yeah. Well, as long as I'm there, it doesn't matter like where I go, but yeah, no. Just
Yeah,
definitely hit me up when you come.
for sure. So if you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Um, if I were to give my younger self advice, I would tell her that you're worthy. You're enough. That's it. You're worthy. You're enough. Um, Life is about making mistakes. So keep making those mistakes. Life is about experiencing those setbacks because they're going to come.
Mm-hmm.
Setbacks, challenges. Some of the setbacks and challenges I've experienced lately is a very difficult divorce where I had to hire 4 attorneys to fight my divorce case.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, towards the end of that, I found my dad unconscious. So last year, my father passed away.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry to hear.
Thank you. So it's like death of a loved one, being in financial debt because I was trying to pay these attorneys on my own. So there's a lot of setbacks that are going to happen in life. And my recommendation to my younger me would be like, it's okay to make mistakes, keep making them, just learn from them and move forward. There's no losses,
Mm-hmm.
only lessons.
Love that. So,
You,
what advice would you give to the men and women listening to the podcast right now?
what advice would I give to the men and women listening to right now?
Yeah, it
To
could be like a relationship advice, business advice, anything.
Yeah, and I try. So I would say to really listen to what's calling at you, not what's clawing at you. When you listen to what's calling at you, you really, you have the certainty that what your gut intuition is telling you is guiding you in the right direction. Where you listen to what's clawing at you, it's your freaking ego. And I've learned my ego is not my amigo. So yeah, it's not, and I'm like, man, sometimes you gotta let that ego go.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what your heart is telling you, you
I
know.
like that. My ego is not my amigo.
Uh,
That's perfect. Awesome. So what are all your social media channels? You can plug anything now if you want. And if you're like have
yeah.
something going on, you can mention that now too. And then I can also put all the details in the description too.
Thank you, Serena. So www.sandragonzalez.com is my website. They can go there, or they want to connect with me now. They can go to on Instagram, Coach Sandra Gonzalez, and send me a DM. What I have going on, obviously I do one-on-one coaching for men and women, high caliber women and men entrepreneurs. And then I do have women empowerment retreats. So next year is my women empowerment retreat here in La Jolla, California. And that's always fun, where we bring badass women together and just have an amazing time, where most women like find their besties, so to speak. They're like-minded, and it's all about collaboration, not competition.
So what do you do on those retreats? That's very interesting.
Thank you. So that the women's empowerment retreats, it's about leadership, spirituality. I have other speakers come. We have freaking fun. I'll get like a yoga instructor, and it's like it's a mastermind, a high caliber mastermind, where the woman walks away empowered, and she just walks away refreshed, renewed, reinvigorated.
Awesome. I love that. Love to hear it. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Sandra, and I hope everything goes well with the rest of your business and everything else you have going on. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Serena. You have a friend here in San Diego. Please reach out anytime.
Thanks, for sure. I hope you guys all enjoyed tonight's episode. Make sure you rate 5 stars on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, and like the YouTube video and subscribe. And also in the description below, I will have all of Sandra Gonzalez's information. She's also got a podcast called Pull the Trigger, and she's got her Facebook page, Instagram page, and her website. If you want to check those out, just take a look in the description below. And I guess I'll talk to you all in a week and a half, because you never know what tea is about to be spilled next. Bye, bitches.